everybody. Good morning, everybody. We are going to get right into it. It's been a minute. It's been so long since I went live on YouTube. What is this? Am I seeing? Oh, I can see my No, that's not that. That's that. Oh, that's what tripod leg. I'm like, I can see something over there messing with my illusion of being in the studio. What's happening, man? Good morning, good morning, good morning to everybody who happened to be tapping in. I know it's been a minute since we did this, so I'm just gonna get right into it, man. If I can get my freaking light to sit right. If I get my light to sit right, okay. Let's get right into it, man. Who in here? Good morning, here to learn to share. Good morning, Mendez. Good morning, Deborah. Good morning, FC. Good morning, Taryn. Good morning, Joshua. What's happening? What's happening? What's happening, everybody, man? We're gonna get right into it, man. What we talking about today? What are we talking about today? Today, we are talking about, if I could, what's up, Valdez? What's up, Seawalk? If I could share my screen. We are talking about we might do a duel. We might do what I'm talking about here, the hard truth about ICT concepts part 2. This is being brought to you courtesy of Doc Nolan. I was on the phone with my partner, Doc, yesterday, and we was having like, just a good conversation, man to man. We was talking about a lot of trade and stuff. And I said, you know what? I'm going to go live this morning and I'm going to talk about some of this stuff and it's not just pertaining to ICT concepts, it's anything. It's anything that you decide to trade, but I am talking about the ICT concepts because that's what I trade, right? The hard truth about the ICT concepts and anything that you trade is there is no such thing as a silver bullet as people be like. There's no such thing as a silver bullet. Michael J. Huddleston tries his best to give that silver bullet. This ain't like the term silver bullet that he used, saying the silver bullet setup. That's nothing new. That he, you know what I'm saying? He used that term before. And if you go back, the silver bullet back then was dealing with the market maker buy models and market maker sell models, right? The same concept of the silver bullet didn't change from during the market maker buy model and the market maker sell model series. It was all about time and price, right? And now the silver bullet is let me go full screen for this. And now the silver bullet is just pretty much a 2022 mentorship entry at a certain time in the Asian, certain time in the London, certain time in the New York, certain time in the New York afternoon, time and price, right? But he's doing his best to dress it up with a fancy name. And if you take offense to what I'm about to say, I don't care. For the lazy people, right? He dressed it up in a fancy name for the lazy people that's looking for the one shot that's going to make me rich, that don't exist in any concept. I don't care if you a trend line trader. I don't care if you're an EMA trader. I don't care if you're a mannequin body part trader. I don't care if you trade by the lunar eclipse of the moon. Don't giggle. I've heard people talk about the way the lunar moon moves and the prices. Don't laugh. It's some people that believe it. You can make money by just flipping a coin, right? Anybody that see y'all think it just be me and Robson. Anybody that I'm cool with, they got the same sense of humor as me. And we some big trolls. We some big trolls, man. We be in the comments with the trollology. We some big trolls. Trolls McGee out here in the comments. You feel me? Okay. What was I saying? Anyway, let's get to it, man. You have to understand before I get to it. I'm sorry. Let me tell you the secret. First of all, y'all know I speak extemporaneously. If you don't know what that means, go look it up, right? I'm off the cuff. I'm off the dome. I don't have anything written down, right? So I'm kind of all over the place, right? Who are the ICT concepts for? This is just Tim Rogers. My name is Timothy. They call me Himothy because I'm a man. I'm him. That's what the young kids say. Don't forget about the ocean. Hey, it sounds funny. It sounds funny what Zay said, but it's people that trade with this stuff. I told you the way the lunar eclipse affect the tide of the ocean waves. No, we have not done the tithes and offering yet. Get off my line. Look, who are ICT concepts for? Right? ICT concepts are for people who, first of all, who it's really for is people who have never been taught anything about trading at all. If you've been taught anything about trading at all, you're going to come into the next category of people that I'm talking about. But who is for? It's for somebody who's never been taught anything about trading at all. And that's not just for ICT concepts, that's for any concept. And the reason why I say that is because when you're learning something, if you've been taught something else, you have to unlearn what you were taught to give the something that you're being taught now a fair chance. Because if you already learned something and you hold it near and dear to your heart, you're coming into the situation biased, right? That's what we do as humans. We come into it biased. We come into it defending our beliefs, especially when it's coming from somebody like Michael who says, my stuff is the best. What you're doing is crap. When you, soon as you hear somebody say that, you're defensive, and it can come to like religious beliefs. If somebody say what I'm doing is gonna get me to heaven and what you're doing gonna send you to hell, you're instantly defensive about it because they just offended you. They just offend, and you have every right to be defensive, right? So who is it for? It's for the people who ain't never known anything about trading, first and foremost, because you're gonna come into it unbiased. You're gonna come into it like a sponge, ready to learn, right? Now the other group of people like myself who had already learned something and held it near and dear to their heart when they start learning ICT concepts, you have to be able to look for something else that may be able to supplement or replace what you already know. And it's not easy. It's not easy especially if you've been successful at it, right? There's another group that we're gonna get to too, the non-successful. But if you've been doing something and you've been successful at it, it's not easy to try to let something else in, because as traders, we're taught once you get your strategy, don't strategy hop. That's what we're taught. Don't strategy hop. So if you already got your strategy and you're married to it, and you don't want to change and you don't want to add to it, this is not for you. This is not for you, because when it comes to ICT concepts, if you try to learn everything about it, it's so intricate, you don't have time to try to add it to something else. That's why all I trade are ICT concepts, because trying to add it to something else, you start to complicate it, you start to overthink it. So that's why I only focus on this one thing. Right now, the other group of people, right? The other group of people is the people that already had something. You're still strategy hopping. It wasn't really working out for you, right? You're going to have to lay all of that aside, especially if you were strategy hopping. You ain't married to nothing. If you were strategy hopping, lay it all to the side and then start over fresh, like that first group of people that I talked about. Pretend like you ain't never been taught anything else before and start fresh, right? And so what you don't want to do, right? This little Timmy Rogers talking, right? I don't care what Michael says. Michael J. Huddleston, aka ICT. I don't care what he says about this is all you need right here. Bullcocky. It's not all. The 22 mentorship model is not all you need. And the reason why I say that, if you don't know anything about ICT concepts and you just go in there and you follow that 2022 mentorship model, right? You will have a lot of success. But guess what? You're not going to know why you're having that success, because you're doing the same thing you were doing before when you were strategy hopping and you wasn't finding out how to why the strategy work, how the strategy work, what's making it do this. You're just a data entry clerk. You don't know what you're entering in. I'm entering. You don't know why you're entering. You don't know where them numbers came from, but you're entering, right? You're getting into trades and you don't know why you're getting into trades. That's just like somebody saying, make your EMA line straight, make your 20 minute chart EMA line straight. If it's a green candle that touches it, buy. If it's a red candle that touches it, sell. It's the same thing. It's the same thing. If you only go in there and follow that 22, I'm lagging. Am I lagging? Am I lagging to y'all? Because I'm looking at myself and I'm like lagging to jump. Am I lagging to y'all? Am I good? If I'm good, somebody put a 1 in the chat if I'm good. Right? So there is no difference. It's no different. It's like you don't know why you're doing it, right? So this is my advice to anybody who wants to learn these concepts. I already told you who it's for, right? If you want to learn the concepts, right? Learn all of the core, look through all the core content. All of the core content will give you all of the foundation stuff that you need to know, right? It was give you all of the foundation stuff that you need to know so that when you go into the charts and start using the 2022 model, now you know when to buy, when to sell, when not to buy, when not to sell, because you will see that model set up at a time when you shouldn't be buying or selling. But you won't understand that I shouldn't be buying or selling right now because I don't have all of the concepts. Now, let's go to the chart, the screen, and I can share with you what I mean, right? So this is the ES on a daily chart, right? Right? This is the ES on a daily chart. Now, anybody in the spider game, you can attest that from last week and this week, right? Even without Michael J. Huddleston getting on Al Gore's internet and sharing information, we as a community, right? Our target starting last week and continuing into this week, our target was the high of this little beige box right here that says bearish liquidity void weekly. So this weekly liquidity void right here was our target from last week sometime, right? If you in the spider gang and what I'm saying is true, feel free to type true in the chat. If you feel free to. That was our target. Now, Tim, what does that mean? Who cares? What that means is if you go through the core content, right? You gain all of the information that you need to be able to look across different markets and instruments, and you know how to use the fact of correlation and inverse correlation to figure out what other markets are doing and how that will affect the market that you're trading. And then you will realize that this was the upside target for the ES, right? This was our upside target, right? Then let's just use the dollar. The dollar, this was the downside target on the dollar, right? This bearish, this SIBI right here. We got a bearish fair value gap on the dollar. This was the downside target on the dollar, right? So the dollar hit a downside weekly target, right? We go into the NQ. The NQ had hit some weekly targets on the NQ. I hit the YM just did. The NQ had hit some weekly targets. I got it on days, but if I put it on weeks, the NQ hit a weekly target, right? We got a weekly liquidity void, a weekly SIBI on the NQ. The ES hit a weekly target. The dollar hit a weekly target, right? Now, what do we do when, let me see if I don't really want to put nobody on the spot. I'll put you on the spot, but I'm going to go ahead and answer it as soon as I put you on the spot. If you're in the spider gang, right? When we hit a higher time frame target, right? When we hit a higher time frame target, especially if we hit a higher time frame target on multiple assets, what do we do? Right? What do we do? Put in the chat if you feel free, if you already know. But for those who not in the spider gang, who don't understand it, when you hit a higher time frame target, especially if you hit it across multiple assets, you sit and you wait for price to tell you what it wants to do, because you anticipate price to go into some form of consolidation on the lower time frames while it engineers liquidity. When you hit your target, you, especially if you hit in a weekly target, right? A weekly target going to create a little bit more consolidation than a daily. A daily is going to create more consolidation than an hourly. An hourly going to create more consolidation than, you see what I'm saying? The higher the time frame, you expect the consolidation on the lower time frames while it engineers liquidity, right? And once it engineers liquidity, then the market will tell you what it wants to do. Now, how long do you have to wait? That depends on the time frame you're trading on. It depends on the time frame you're trading on, because price is fractal, right? If you're a day trader, right, you will have more opportunities to trade than a swing trader, because your setups are happening on the intraday time frames. You won't hold your positions as long as a swing trader. because your setups are happening on an intraday time frame. But the same thing is happening for the swing trader. You just have to wait longer to get in, and you have to hold longer to see your plan play out, because it's happening on a larger time frame, right? So this week's price action, right, is not a surprise to any of us. Why? Because once we hit our, again, Sunday, was it Sunday or Monday when we did that live stream and we talked about rebalancing, right? And we talked about rebalancing, right? Y'all know I ain't real big on trying to prove nothing to nobody, but I just like to let me see. Rebalancing right here. June 6th. What day was June 6th? June 6th was Tuesday, right? June 6th was Tuesday. So June 6th was Tuesday, and in this video, we talked about in this video, we talked about, let me go, hold on. Right? And then we offered sell side all the way back down to the bottom. We talked about, right, rebalancing. So we offered buy side and we offered sell side. This is the weekly, right? Initially, right here, I was like, okay, we have rebalanced this price range, right? But the gem that ICT dropped, right? This was an ES video. He did this video on 517. It's a ICT ES video 517, right? Now, he talked about the balanced price range. Price must trade back to the low or the high and fail. Then it's a balanced price range. So I said, looky, who stole the cookie? So now we had offered buy side, we had offered sell side inside the range, right? This high was our target from last week, right? This high right up here was our target from last week. Let me move this out the way real quick, right? This high right here, that was our target from last week. Once we hit it and came back down and closed near the low on that video on Tuesday, what I was talking about, because on Monday, right, we were still inside this range. Then I did a special video for the black spiders about rebalancing, right? And we talked about we were going back to the high because price needs to go back up there and fail. So this consolidating inside this range throughout this week did not surprise us, because we were anticipating price to work its way back up to that high, right, and fail, so that this could be now a balanced price range. And once it gives it a balanced price range, then the algorithm can let you know if it wants to leave the price range to the downside or leave the price range to the upside, right? And how is it going to do that? It's going to do that by attacking different PD arrays to, man, I'm tripping because I shared the screen. Now I got to say all this back over again, because I was sharing the screen inside the Chrome tab. Now, this, we were looking at this high right here. This was our last week's target. On Tuesday, we did the video because we were anticipating price to come back to the high, right? Because we offered buy side, we offered sell side. Now we need price to come back to the high and fail, because then that'll let you know that this liquidity void is now rebalanced, right? So this week's price action did not surprise us, because we anticipated this consolidation, because the ES made it to a weekly target, the dollar made it to a weekly target, the NQ made it to a weekly. We got multiple markets that made it to a weekly target. So when you get to a higher time frame target, the market is going to go into a holding pattern while it engineers liquidity. And you don't get that from just looking at the 2022 mentorship model. You don't get that from just looking at, I want to use the silver bullet. You don't get that from just looking at the I want to be a market maker buy model, market maker sell model. You don't get that from trying to find one thing. You only get that if you understand all the concepts. Just like I said in another video, if you learn how to apply all of the concepts, but you only use certain things to trade off of, right? Because I understand how to apply the fact that now that we've offered buy side and sell side inside this liquidity void, because I know how to apply the fact that the ES made it to a weekly target, the dollar made it to a weekly target, the YM made it to a weekly target, other markets made it to weekly targets. I understand how to apply the knowledge that we are highly holding pattern is highly probable now. Since I know how to apply the fact that now that we've offered buy side and sell side to this weekly void, now going back to the high of this void is highly probable. Now that I know how to apply all of that, now I can go into my time frame, right? I can go into my time frame and look for, I can go into my time frame and look for a break to the upside, right? I can look for a break to the upside here, come back down into a area where the breaker and the imbalance is, to ride it back to the high. This is my entry: attack sell side, breaking market structure, trade back down to the higher time frame breaker to an imbalance on the lower time frame, boom, and take out, run to my target. But that's my entry model. But in order to get to my entry model, I had to understand all of the other concepts that was going to give me my bias of the draw being right here, and not get tricked when the market breaks down here. Just like over here, right? So many people probably got tricked going short when this low right here got broke. So many people probably got tricked going short when this low got broke right there, right? But if you understand the concepts, you understand that this was the draw right here. How do I know that this was the draw, right? How do I know that this was the draw? Because if you, I don't even have, I don't even have it on this one over here, but that 4305, that 40, was it 4305? What's the line? What's the line that I had on there? On the chart I sent out the other day. 4305.7 right there. Buy side liquidity right there. Right. There's the line right there. That's the chart that I sent out. When did I send that out? Whatever. One of them days there. What day is that? What's that say? The 8th? Yes. No, that's the one from last night. What'd that say? What's the name? Oh, the 7th. It's right there. The 7th. The 7th. I sent that out on the 7th. Right there. Buy side liquidity right there. That was the buy side liquidity right there. Right? But if you understand how to use the concepts, right, you did not get tricked when we came down here, because you knew we were coming into this fair value gap right here, this big green area here. We were pulling back down into that and just taking out this sell side right here, right? You understand that that was the target up there. Now, again, to repeat, the hard truth about ICT concepts part 2 is who is really for is people who don't have any kind of learning or education about trading, because you're going to come into it totally unbiased. If you already have a system that you use, you have to be willing to accept something different. You have to be willing to be open to something different. It's going to be difficult to be open to something different because Michael is very brash, harsh, or whatever you want to say. He tends to say, my thing is the best, what you're doing is stupid. So that's going to be offensive to most people, and rightly so. If you're system hopping, stop system hopping, and everybody in all 3 categories go back and learn. Look at all of the core content videos, because that's going to give you the foundation that you need to be able to apply, because you want to be able to read the tape. And when I say read the tape, you want to be able to look at the candles and see what the candles are telling you. Tape reading group tomorrow morning, 11 o'clock, class tomorrow morning. Do your homework. Do your homework. Tomorrow morning, we're going to be discussing what are the candles telling you, right? What are the candles telling you? I know I wasn't supposed to be like going live and doing stuff all week. We just supposed to be waiting until, but I can't help it. I can. Hopefully what I've been sharing has been helping you all. But tomorrow we're going to be talking about what are the candles telling you. So go back and do your homework. Again, pick one price leg, right? Pick one. You could pick this price leg. Now, everybody don't run out there and pick that price leg. You could pick that price leg. I would prefer that you pick a price leg on something where you took a trade on. And I want you to tell me, if you're something that you took a trade on, I would like for you to tell me what you anticipated, right? What you thought the candles were saying and what the candles really said, right? So do your homework. I'll try not to get mad and kick everybody out the group this time if don't nobody respond. Hey man, that's all I got. It's 9:35. I appreciate y'all for hanging out with me. The market is open. The market is open. The market is open. So if you're gonna trade, trade safe. If you're not gonna trade, please take copious notes so you can go back and study what you saw today. Is there anyone who has anything before I get off? Is there anyone who has anything before I get off? Any questions? Any questions? Feel free to drop a question in the chat. Feel free to and pull up. Yes, the doors of the church are open. Somebody look at your neighbor and say, hey, man. While I sip on me some high quality H2O, does anyone have anything? Going once. Ties. Feed times a matey. Okay. I don't see anything in the chat. I'm assuming all hearts and minds are clear. So we're gonna call it. Again, if you're part of the tape reading group, tomorrow morning will be on what are the candles saying to me? What are the candles communicating? And do your homework. If you're not in the tape reading group and you're in Discord, I shared it in the main chat. So for anybody else who wants to participate in the homework assignment, feel free to do so. because I will be streaming the live session inside the Discord chat like I've been doing. Since I've been streaming the sessions in the Discord at the end of June, well, the June 24th, June 24th will be the last, will be the last Tales from the Tape session that I ever do. Initially, I was going to continue it and keep going, but since I'm streaming them live in the Discord, that's going to be the last one that I do. The only people that will be able to go back and look at those videos are the ones who are actually in the group, because they're private videos, but everybody else will have had access to them the way that I initially planned on doing it, by not recording it. But since someone asked if they can go back and rewatch it, I said, sure, I'll oblige that. But everybody else just getting it the way that I initially intended it, just doing it. If you're not there on the live, you missed it. If you're not there on the live, hey, you didn't want it as bad as you thought you did. And then starting in July, we're going to be doing on Sundays, Sunday afternoons at 3:30. We're doing ICT Concepts Explained, the live version. Now I have ICT Concepts Explained playlist on the channel where I sat down and did pre-recorded videos with nice slides and all of that right there. But this time we're doing a live version where I sit down and go through different ICT concepts, something dealing with the ICT concepts each Sunday at 3:30. Barring any holidays, life stuff, vacations. We're just going to go through them each Sunday at 3:30 for as many Sundays as it takes to get through all of the stuff that's in my brain concerning the ICT concepts. So, but we're going to do it live so that you can have the opportunity to interact with me in a live setting, because I know how it is when you're watching a pre-recorded video. You may have a specific question that's not answered in that pre-recorded video. Then you got to leave a comment. Then I got to try to comment back. But we're doing it live so you can interact. And that's starting in July on Sundays at 3. And you can take the under, over, whatever you want. Hey man, till the next time, go man. Yeah.